Shelling of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power station by Ukrainian forces risks a nuclear catastrophe at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Arseny Zelensky, the Kakhovka plant's deputy director for reconstruction, told reporters on Saturday. According to Zelensky, as quoted by TASS, Kakhovka is now operating in a very dangerous emergency mode. The Kakhovka plant is located in Kherson region in southern Ukraine, which was seized by Russian forces in the early stages of Moscow's military operation. Together with Russia-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the biggest in Europe, it has been attacked by Kiev's troops, with use of Western-supplied weapons, according to the regional authorities. In case of problems with the dam of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power station, there will be big troubles at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. This could lead to a nuclear catastrophe, the deputy director of the Kakhovka plant said.
Russian forces have established complete control over the strategic settlement of Pesky in the Donetsk People's Republic, Russia's defense ministry has said. As a result of the offensive by the Allied forces, Russian troops and DPR militia, the settlement of Pesky has been fully liberated from the Ukrainian military, the ministry's spokesman Lieutenant General Igor Konashenkov announced during his daily briefing on Saturday. Pesky, located some 2 kilometers away from the Donetsk airport, has been one of the main pillars of Ukraine's elaborate defense line in the DPR. The settlement had been heavily fortified since 2015. A DPR militia commander told Russia's Channel 1 last week that the area had been turned into, literally one big garrison, from which all civilians were evacuated long ago. All buildings in Pesky are surrounded by trenches, while Ukrainian defenses had been set up in according to NATO standards, he pointed out.
A 22-year-old man was killed and 40 people injured when strong winds hit the Medusa music festival in the Spanish region of Valencia. Police are investigating the exact circumstances behind the death, but authorities report that the man was hit by part of the concert stage that was torn off by the wind. The electronic music festival's entrance and exit also collapsed due to weather conditions, while videos showed people's tents nearly blowing away and damage to other structures. The Spanish Meteorological Agency, AEMET, recorded wind gusts stronger than 80 km per hour in the area just after 4 a.m. local time, 0100 GMT.
At least 77 Yemenis have been killed by heavy rains and flooding in the war-torn country, the United Nations said. 35,000 families, most of them IDPs, were affected by heavy rains and flooding between the 28th of July and the 10th of August, the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said in a statement on Friday. OCHA said extreme weather is affecting 16 of Yemen's 22 provinces. Extreme weather is expected to continue until the 20th of August, it added. Yemen lacks proper infrastructure due to ongoing civil war over the past 8 years, which decreased the vital services provided to Yemenis and increased their suffering in times of extreme weather. Yemen has been engulfed by violence and instability since 2014, when Iran-aligned Houthi rebels captured much of the country, including Sana'a. The Houthis remain in control of the capital, as well as wide swathes of territory, despite a military campaign conducted by Saudi Arabia and its Gulf Arab allies since 2015 aimed at ousting them and restoring the Yemeni government. Millions suffer from hunger amid persistent famine-like conditions.
Myanmar's ruling junta has moved to restrict political parties from meeting foreigners or international organizations ahead of an election expected next year. The junta-stacked Union Election Commission said on Friday that the country's 92 registered political parties would have to ask for permission if they wish to meet foreign organizations or individuals. Political parties need to respect the law. If they fail to do so, their party's registration will be dissolved, the commission said in a statement. The body also accused foreign embassies and international non-governmental organizations of interfering in the 2020 polls, resulting in fraud. Earlier this month, the junta extended a state of emergency by 6 months, saying elections could only take place when the conflict-racked country was stable and peaceful. It has previously said elections would be held and the state of emergency lifted by August 2023, extending the initial one-year timeline it announced days after the coup.
Taliban fighters beat female protesters and fired into the air on Saturday to disperse a rare rally in the Afghan capital, Kabul, days before the first anniversary of the group's return to power. About 40 women marched on the education ministry in Kabul, chanting, "Bread, work and freedom." Despite the pledges made when it retook power, the Taliban has limited Afghan women's rights, including keeping high school girl students out of school. Some protesters who took refuge in nearby shops were chased and beaten by Taliban fighters with their rifle butts, according to the AFP news agency. The demonstrators carried a banner, which read, "August 15th is a black day," as they demanded rights to work and political participation. "Justice, justice." Were fed up with ignorance, they chanted, many not wearing face veils. Unfortunately, the Taliban from the intelligence service came and fired in the air, said Jolia Parsi, one of the organizers of the march. They dispersed the girls, tore our banners and confiscated the mobile phones of many girls. But protester Maniza Mubarak pledged to continue fighting for women's rights. If the Taliban want to silence this voice, it's not possible. "We will protest from our homes," she said. Some journalists covering the demonstration, the first women's rally in months, were also beaten by the Taliban fighters, an AFP correspondent saw. While the Taliban authorities have allowed and even promoted some rallies against the United States, they have declined permission for any women's rally since they returned to power. After seizing control last year, the Taliban has gone back on its promises of women's rights and media freedom, bringing back memories of its harsh rule from 1996 to 2001.
The FBI recovered documents that were labeled top secret from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, according to court papers released after a federal judge unsealed the warrant that authorized the unprecedented search this week. A property receipt unsealed by the court on Friday shows FBI agents took 11 sets of classified records from the estate during a search on Monday. The property receipt is a document prepared by federal agents to specify what was taken during a search. The FBI search on Trump's residence was partly based on suspicions of violations of the US Espionage Act related to the illegal retention of sensitive defense documents, the warrant showed. The seized records include some that were marked as classified and some top secret. The court records did not provide specific details about the documents or what information they might contain. Top secret is the highest level of classification of U.S. government documents. U.S. law prohibits making public or mishandling classified documents. Scott Lucas, professor of American Studies at the University of Birmingham, said Trump is vulnerable to prosecution under the Espionage Act if it transpires that he took those documents, whether he did it by mistake or intentionally.
PTI chairperson Imran Khan is set to address his supporters in Lahore tonight as the party gathers to celebrate 75 years of Pakistan's independence. The former prime minister is expected to take his supporters into confidence over his journey of Hakiki Azadi. Khan asked his supporters to attend the Jalsa in a video message released on Twitter yesterday.
Be aware. With the world. APN. Broadcast Service.